So negative 4x squared plus 22x plus 12. So you can do the magic x. I have a really hard time doing the magic x too. I have a really difficult time visualizing that. For my students, if they do it that way and that makes sense for them and they get it, like totally go for it. But personally, I have a difficult time with that. So I'll just walk you through how I would do this, and if I had this on a test or something like that. Hi, I'm Sarah. I've been teaching math and science classes for 20 years, and I like to keep math engaging and fun and not so scary for everybody. Find the links and things for signing up for tutoring in my profile. So negative 4x squared plus 22x plus 12. So here's what I would do first. So the first thing you always want to check for when you're factoring is a greatest common factor. So a greatest common factor in this is something that they are all divisible by, right? So in this case, I've got 12, 22, and 4. Now, yes, so you can take out a 2, but I'm actually going to take out a negative 2. Okay, and that's because that negative right there, I don't want it. Okay, so I've got negative 2, and I'm going to leave that out here. So I've got negative 2, and then I have to think about, okay, what is left over when I divide everything by negative 2? So this is going to be 2x squared minus 11x minus 6. So now I have this, so I've got 2x squared minus 11x minus 6. When I am factoring a trinomial like this, now this negative 2 that's out here, that's just gonna hang out for a while. Like, I'm done with that, but I still need to include it in everything, but I'm mainly gonna focus on this 2x squared minus 11x minus 6. Okay, so I'm actually gonna switch colors just because I'm just gonna focus on this. So when you're doing this, since this first coefficient is 2, it's not 1, what I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to do 2 times negative 6. That's going to give me negative 12. Okay. So I'm going to be looking for factors of negative 12 that multiply to negative 12 and add to negative 11. So when we think about the factors of 12, like you first off the bat, you think 2 and 6, you think 3 and 4. The one you might forget about is 1 and 12, and that's the one we're gonna use. Because if this number is negative, right, that means that my signs need to be opposite, okay? Because they would multiply together to make this a negative number. So that means that one needs to be positive, one needs to be negative. And they need to add to negative 11. So I can't make negative 11 from 2 and 6. I can't make it from 3 and 4, but I can definitely make it from 1 and 12, and it is, you are absolutely right, 1 and negative 12. Those are going to be my two factors. Now this part gets a little bit weird, but it's just kind of the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this negative 11x into my 1 and negative 12. And the order doesn't actually matter. It'll all work out in the end, okay? But I'm going to do negative 12x here. So I'm going to split this middle term into negative 12x. Sorry, I didn't want to write that negative that high. Negative 12x plus 1x, which is still the same thing as negative 11x, right? I'm just substituting. And the reason I'm substituting this in is because I want to be able to then factor it again by grouping. So then I'm going to bring down the negative 6, and I'm going to bring down the 2x squared. Okay. And then we don't forget about the negative 2, right? Don't forget about the negative 2. That's going to come down too. Okay, but I'm just going to focus on this. Okay, so now I can do something called factoring by grouping. Okay, so we're going to factor this by grouping. And doing that, since I have 4 terms, I can factor this by grouping. So here, I'm going to look at this. I've got 2x squared minus 12x. I'm going to pull the greatest common factor out of there, which is 2x. So I've got 2x, and what's left over is x minus 6. Now here, with plus x minus 6, there's no GCF there. But what I can always take out is number 1. So I'm gonna rewrite this as 1 times x minus 6. And again, yes, I still have the negative 2 out there, right? We're still gonna keep it going, okay? So now when I have this, so they don't cross out, but I can now factor those out, right? Because this is being multiplied by the same thing and this is being multiplied by the same thing. So you want to make sure that these two match. If they don't match, you've done something wrong. Maybe you missed a greatest common factor or something like that, right? So if they don't match up, double check. Maybe there's a negative, maybe you forgot to take out a 2, something like that. But now, so I'm gonna shift this up so I have room. So now I'm going to rewrite this. I'm gonna write my negative 2 out here. And then this 2x plus 1 becomes my first binomial. Okay. Oh, sorry, that should be all over. And then my second binomial is x minus 6. That, if I multiply all this together, it would actually work exactly backwards. It would just go right back up and we would end up back here. So this is what you would get. If this first one doesn't have a coefficient or if it's just a 1, you don't have to do all of this. Once you figure out these, that's just what your two binomials would be. It would be like x plus 1 times x minus 12, right? But that's just if you have that first coefficient of something that's greater than 1, right? Then you have to do that 2 times negative 6. So if you're looking for more examples of this, this is usually, I think it's called like the AC method. I always think of AC Slater, okay? But I think usually like the AC method is how I go about it, right? Yeah, because it's the A times the C, and then you go from there and then factoring by grouping. It's mathed up.